The Iranian-backed Lebanese group Hezbollah fired rockets towards Israeli forces on Friday, drawing retaliatory fire from Israel into South Lebanon in a third day of cross-border salvoes amid wider regional tension with Iran, reports Reuters. Supporting its attack was calibrated to avoid further escalation. Hezbollah said it had targeted open ground near Israeli forces in retaliation for Israeli airstrikes that had also struck open areas. Israel said it did not wish to escalate to a full war, though it was ready for one. Our understanding is that Hezbollah deliberately aimed at open areas in order not to escalate the situation, Israeli military spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Amnon Shefler said. The incident, which has caused no casualties following an alleged Iranian attack on an Israeli-managed oil tanker in the Gulf last week, in which 2 crew members, a Briton and a Romanian, were killed. Tehran denied the involvement. With the Islamic Republic facing the possibility of Israeli or international action in response to the Gulf incident, the violence has flared across a border that has long been a theater of conflict between the Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel. The salvos began on Wednesday with a rocket strike on Israel from Lebanon, for which no group claimed responsibility. That attack, on which Hezbollah has not commented, drew retaliatory Israeli artillery and airstrikes. Hezbollah, one of Iran's major allies in the Middle East, said it had fired dozens of rockets on Friday at open ground near Israeli positions in the disputed Sheba Farm border area in response to the Israeli airstrikes on Thursday. The attack drew a wave of criticism from Hezbollah's opponent in Lebanon, a country suffering a crippling financial crisis which the ruling elite are failing to tackle. In a rare challenge to Hezbollah, the fighters who fired the rockets were stopped by locals as they passed through a Druze area afterwards. The United Nations interim force in Lebanon said the situation was very serious and urged all parties to cease fire. The Israeli military said its Iron Dome system intercepted 10 of 19 rockets on Friday, with 6 failing in open areas and 3 landing inside South Lebanon. There have been no reports of casualties or serious damage over the 3 days of aerial fire, which have jarred an extended period of relative calm since Israel and Hezbollah fought a month war in 2006. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's office said he was consulting his defense and military chiefs over the violence. Security analysts have long cited the risk of Israeli entanglement in a multi-front war with Iran, which also backs Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip, with whom Israel waged a 11-day conflict in May. Israel says it is rallying global action against Iran over last week's suspected drone attack on the vessel off the coast of Oman, but is willing to act alone if it's necessary. The United States and Britain say they will work with their allies to respond to the attack. Tehran has denied any role in the July 29th incident. Britain will raise the tanker attack in a closed-door UN Security Council meeting later on Friday, diplomats said, but the 15-member body is not expected to take any action. Foreign ministers from the group of 7 wealthy economies said Iran was threatening international peace and security, and that all available evidence showed it was behind the Mercer Street attack. News Desk, Comedy English.